Let's talk about a question that many Indian professionals fear asking. But one Reddit post, it has now brought that particular fear into the open. An Indian tech worker, an H-1B visa, a sudden layoff, and a flight ticket hanging in uncertainty. You're watching Times XP. My name is Dhriti Athri, and this is not just one man's problem. This is a silent anxiety of thousands. The story begins with a Reddit post that caught fire. An Indian professional wrote that he had just lost his job in the US, and at the very same time, his H-1B visa was still valid on paper. His green card process had already crossed an important stage. His I-140, it was approved. But you know what? There was one important complication. He was not in America, he was in India. So he asked a very simple but very dangerous question. Can I still go back to the US? He said that he had heard that H-1B cancellation does not happen immediately. He was told that it might take a few days after his termination, but he was not sure whether this information could be trusted or not. And that uncertainty, it is what scared him the most. He openly admitted his situation. He wrote that he was laid off. He wrote that he was suddenly in India. He wrote that he wanted to travel back within a day or two. And then he asked strangers for guidance because official answers, they are rarely clear. That post, it struck a nerve. Responses poured in from people who had lived through very similar situations. Some spoke about caution, some spoke about bitter experiences, others, they warned of serious consequences. But one common message stood out. If you are not employed, your H-1B status becomes fragile. Several users said that legally, an H-1B is tied to active employment. Without a job, the visa has no foundation. Even if the stamp looks valid, even if the paperwork has not yet been updated. Some comments, they were blunt. One person said that they tried returning after a layoff and they were stopped. Another one warned that entry after termination could be seen as misrepresentation here. That word carries weight here because it can affect future visas and future immigration benefit as well. Others brought up the grace period. They reminded him that the H-1B holder usually gets time after a job loss. That window is meant for finding a new employer or preparing to leave the country properly. But here's the catch. That grace period is generally counted while being inside the US, not outside it. Now that particular detail, it changed everything. Immigration officers at the airport do not go by assumptions. They go by current employment. They go by intent. They go by what you say at the border. And outcomes, they can vary from officers to officer. You know what makes this story really powerful is not fear, it is uncertainty. Even people who followed the rules face unpredictable results. Even those with approved petition, they were not fully protected. Even those with valid visas felt exposed. Well, this is not an anti-America story. This is the reality check about how tightly work visas are structured. The system is legal, but it is complex. And the timing matters most than any people will ever realize. Well, the Reddit post ended with the request. He asked for real experiences, not theories, not assumptions, because when your career, status, and future, they are on one line, certainty becomes priceless for you. And this is why this one question matters. Can an H-1B holder re-enter the US after layoff? Well, there is no universal answer, only risk, only timing, and only preparation.